Good evening and welcome to the Watchmen's Report. I'm Cody Higley, and tonight we'll be joined by very special co-host Jason Foreman, and kind of a little informal pop-up broadcast, as we like to call them. On the agenda for this evening, we'll talk about what happened at the committee meetings yesterday, committee meetings for Marion City Council. Few items of interest were discussed, and then we're going to talk about what everybody else in the city of Marion is talking about, and that is the contaminated water issue. Now, I say contaminated, it's obviously contaminated with something, organic or otherwise. So we'll delve a little bit into that and probably just kind of keep it a little bit open for the evening. So, Jay, if you want to pull up that agenda from last night's committee meeting.
Yeah, Bobby might join us too. I'm not sure. It's her birthday, but she's waiting on the hubby to get home. So she's pretty interested in some of the stuff we got going on up here.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you want to touch on first?
Yeah, let's just start from the top. If you can expand that so my old eyes can read it, and then we'll proceed down. Now, folks, when committee meetings meet, not the city of Marion, like any other municipal government, has a number of committee meetings, and I'm just explaining this for those of you who may not be aware. Uh, Committees will consist of typically three council members, and each of those committees are assigned to talk about proposed legislation uh, regarding a particular topic. So there'll be legislation and codes committee, there's finance committee, uh, there's all these different committees. And that's what occurred last night. Now, not every single committee will meet every time, and they meet every other week, typically, on weeks that there is not a regular session of city council scheduled. So you can go on the city of Marion's website, and you can access the agendas, you can access the minutes of committee meetings, and they've got them organized by different committees. Can you pull that up just to show folks like how they have that structured? Because I think it's important that people, if you want to get involved and you want to do your own research, you got to know kind of where to go. To
Right. It can be disorienting, really. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know if you have that. There you go. So under here, so if you go to the City of Marion's main website and you click on City Council up at the top, then um, let's see, agendas and minutes. So go ahead and click on that for them just so they can see what the process would look like. Then you can scroll down here on the agenda center, and the first one will be City Council. So that will be the agendas and the minutes for regular sessions of council. And again, those are every other week, every other Monday. Um, and then committee meetings will be the opposite every other Monday. Um, and then here's all the committees, city council committees. So airport lands, buildings, finance, jobs and economic development, legislation, codes and regulations, municipal services, parks and recreation, planning commission and board of zoning appeals, public utilities, streets and sewers, traffic commission, and then that unified committee agendas. That's where they'll put the agendas if there's a whole bunch of committee meetings on one given night. So, like for last night's committee meeting agenda, that's where you would find it, is under that unified committee agendas. And then the last one, zoning and annexation. And they have a couple years on here. Records are somewhat limited on the website. I don't know if the goal is to fill in everything historically. That's what I would like to see.
I think that's what they're doing. They do have some archival stuff that goes way back.
They do for the ordinances. They don't for the agendas and the minutes. That's what they need to try to focus on uploading, is historical agendas and meeting minutes, because you can find the ordinances on there and they go all the way back many, many years. They're not indexed. There's not a keyword search function either on the ordinances, which I personally, as a researcher, would love to see that feature, because otherwise you have to go through every single document until you find what you're looking for, if you don't know what the ordinance number is, or you don't know when a particular topic was discussed. At this point, with fiscal caution status and all that, I mean, I don't expect them to dump a lot of money into functionality and user friendliness for the archive section of the website. But maybe down the line in the future, when everything's good and they're prosperous, everything, maybe they can invest in that. Right, Jay?
That's right. Hopefully. It's really cool though. I mean, if you can't find something, you can always send in a request. Matt's been pretty good about getting back to me. So
yeah, there's always that option. So you have a public records, you can submit a public records request. It doesn't need to be specific. You can be fairly general in what you're asking for, and as long as they should be able to figure out what you are in fact asking for, they have a legal responsibility to provide that information to you. If there is a cost associated with that, I mean, not every records request is going to be something that would be free, so you just got to be aware of that. But in general, if it's something like this, that they can send you in electronic or digital format, like an agenda or something like that, then there's no reason that there should be a cost associated with it. So this is the agenda from the committee meetings from last night. Legislation, codes, and regulations was the first one that met. They didn't meet for very long. Go ahead and scroll down. They just had one item of old business on a liquor permit. Now, which this was Parks and Recreation. This is something that is maybe worth mentioning here briefly. As people know, they had the budget, the proposed budget for 2026 that was released like 3 weeks ago. Then the fiscal caution, then the request by the mayor to all the department heads to try to cut their budgets by 10%. Then those department heads submitted their cuts, and they were able to trim the proposed 2026 budget down by like $5 million roughly.
Right.
To a point where it was balanced. So the general fund, the operational fund, that was balanced below expenses, below revenues. Well, Councilman Thad Smith, he's been very vocal in his advocacy for the Marion Senior Center. And the Marion Senior Center, for those of you who don't know, is located just to the east of the city of Marion on State Route 309. It actually gets funding from both the city of Marion and also the county of Marion. But interestingly, I do believe that the city of Marion pays more. I don't know. I haven't looked into it to see how much more their operational budget the city of Marion pays, but they pay more than the county does, I believe. So Councilman Thad Smith, who represents Marion's 5th Ward, he is trying to get the administration to reach out to the Marion County Commissioners to see if they can increase their share of funding for the Marion Senior Center, given the austerity measures and the cuts that have been proposed for the city of Marion. So that's been a passion issue for Councilman Thad Smith. So stay tuned to see what happens with it. You can review the historical budgets of the senior center and go to their website, see what activities and things that they do. But that was something that was brought up, and we'll keep an eye on that. So go ahead and go back to the agenda. We'll scroll down, Jay. Alrighty. Well, streets and sewers, emerging contaminants ordinance. This was something that might be, especially when we're talking about contaminants, it kind of somewhat relates, I guess. They had a fellow that came in, and they're able to get grant money to fund this large infrastructure project for a leachate system, which is water pollution control. Apparently, it's something that the state of Ohio, I think, in the EPA are kind of going to be mandating across the board with a lot of different municipalities. So this is going to be something that the city of Marion will be obtaining some grant funds for, and will be moving forward. So go on back to the agenda, Jay. All right, what is the next? Traffic Commission. They just dealt with like signs and that sort of thing. Go ahead and scroll down. Apparently it came out. I will say this, and you folks in the city of Marion, maybe you know this, but there was a matter that came up for the need for a overhead light or sign or something as you there at that Church Street, kind of near the library, I think, Rocky Cyclery, where it kind of breaks out and you go out to head eastbound on Center Street. Apparently people are going the wrong way on Church Street, and apparently that happens quite a bit. So that was one example of the Traffic Commission and our streets to see what can be done to prevent that. So Finance Committee, everybody's favorite committee, especially this day and age. Councilwoman Twyla Lang was not in attendance last night. So you had 2 members. That was Councilman Aaron Rollins, Republican at large, and also Democrat Ayers Ratliff, who represents the 2nd Ward. And they had the budget proposal. So as you probably can recall, the prior committee meeting is when that revised 2026 budget proposal was submitted to Finance Committee, and Councilman Rollins and Councilman Ratliff did not vote. They refused. They voted no on submitting that to the full council for their consideration. So that proposed budget, which the city needs to get passed so that it has an operational budget for 2026. I mean, January 1st is right around the corner. It was sitting in committee. So then you had Councilwoman Twyla Lang, Councilman Ralph Smith, and Councilman Ron Prater that sponsored another ordinance, and it was for a quarterly budget for the first quarter only. So basically what that would do is they were going to take that revised budget for 2026, the one that was trimmed down from 19 million and some change down to 15 million or 14 and some change, and they would take a quarter of that total for the general fund, presumably the whole thing, and say, this is what we are going to pass. That way we have enough money to get us through the first quarter. Because the state of Ohio, according to Paula Lang, who again is the finance chair or finance committee chair, she was in attendance with the meetings with the auditor of state, as was Mayor Bill Collins, and I believe Miranda McGinnis or Martin Watts, and might have been a couple other people in there, maybe Law Director Mark Russell. And the auditor of state said that this is something that needs to be done. You need to pass a quarterly budget, at least for that first quarter. So that's what this legislation aimed to do. And in order to get it moving along, they put it in front of the regular session of city council last week, and it had a first reading. They tried to expedite it. They didn't have enough support in order to do that because there were 3 councilmen that voted against it: Rollins, Ratliff, and Jason Schauber of the 3rd Ward. So they're going to be considering that again. And I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it before, Jay. I mean,
Yeah.
You got to do something. And if true that the state is saying that you need to do this, if the city of Marion doesn't play ball or doesn't play by the rules that the auditor of state is putting forward, then they can just say you didn't do what you were supposed to do. We're going to move you from fiscal caution, and we're going to move you past fiscal watch all the way to the worst status, which is fiscal emergency.
So what does that do? Explain to everybody what that does, because I'm not a finance guy, but I kind of understand it, and I don't think a lot of people understand the drastic change that would be, or what it could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fiscal emergency again is the most severe status when it comes to the auditor of state and their fiscal distress stages. So you've got the least bad, which is fiscal caution, and you have fiscal watch, which is kind of intermediary, middle of the road. You know, you're kind of screwed, but you might have a way out. So we'll kind of, give you some more time, some more guidance to try to help you, but it's not good. And then you got a fiscal emergency, which is you guys effed this up so bad, and we don't think that you can fix it on your own. So we're going to dictate what you do. And one of the examples of that would be to say, whatever I believe it's off of your prior year's expenditures, your budget, you're automatically capped at 85%, I believe is the figure. So they would go off of your actual expenditures and let's say 2025. And I don't know how hard and fast that is. I mean, if they go in and they say, hey, you spent way too much money in 2025, they're just going to dictate to you. It's basically the state of Ohio saying that you can't fix this. We cannot defer to you. We cannot give you the opportunity to fix things on your own or even just with our guidance. So that's what they're trying to avoid, because again, there's certain things in the city of Marion that the auditor of state, if it was strictly in there to do what needs to be done, they might just cut entirely. So they're trying to avoid that, but they have to put a plan together and they have to listen to what the guidance is from the auditor of state. And that's why I think that Bill Collins, when he did his address to council, was trying to stress is that
Right.
we have to put a plan together and we have to carry it out. Otherwise, they could come in here and move us to fiscal emergency.
I believe he
So
said something about who's blocking it. They won't care or whatever. Whoever the problem is, they'll just move us straight over to this. And that would be all bad.
yeah,
It was
I
basically a
mean,
warning. Yeah.
yeah, nobody wants to see that. So I think, I don't know. I mean, if the auditor of state is in fact recommending this, it's kind of one of those recommendations, but it's also kind of an order. So you need to do it. So they kind of need to do it. And the other thought that I had is, when they submitted that revised budget, which was balanced. I mean, it trimmed 5 million. Now you can say that it trimmed 5 million off of kind of the wish list budget for 2026. Well, that's true. That's true. It wasn't that initial 2026 budget was not an austerity budget. It was not. So get that out of your mind. But the fact of the matter is, when they did the revisions, they did trim it down to a respectable 14 million and some change, which is below what the projected revenues are. So it is a balanced budget for the general fund. And that's an accomplishment. Now,
Right.
if there were additional recommendations for changes to particular funds or particular line items, well, council should be making those recommendations. I certainly wouldn't have just voted to approve it right away, suspend the rules and pass it on an emergency basis or something like that without any additional consideration, discussion, or changes. But Councilman Rollins and Councilman Ratliff, other than having some discussion about some of the increases in expenditures over the last couple years with the municipal court, there really wasn't much in the way of any discussion.
Right.
So last night, when Finance Committee met, again, Councilwoman Twyla Lang was not in attendance. Uh, Councilman Rollins stood in as chair for the evening. It was just him and Ratliff, and they refused to do anything on that budget. So that full budget. So I guess the annual budget is going to continue to sit in finance committee, and I guess they'll just go move forward at regular council with the quarterly budget, which is going to be based on 25% of the revised figures for 2026. And sometime between January 1st and April 1st or whatever, they'll have to put together a budget and appropriate for the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter. So I guess
Right.
that's how they're going to do it. I don't know. Personally, I think I would have tried to make recommendations and changes for the full budget and then passed the 25% of that fully thought out, fully processed, fully discussed budget, right? I mean, does that make sense,
I
Jay?
mean, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think little bit of dereliction in duty. I mean, I think I would have made recommendations. What do you want to see? Go through each of these funds, go through each of these line items, and if there's something that you think needs to be addressed, changed, then do it. Because all you're going to do is you're going to let it sit there in finance committee, and nothing's going to be discussed as far as the full year picture, other than what has already been done by these department heads at the behest of the mayor and the budget director. So
Yeah, and the auditor
that
estate's
was
watching.
what's that?
I said the auditor estate's probably watching the circus down here. They're starting to make me nervous, honestly.
Yeah, I
With
mean,
all the crazy.
this is all part of that. We don't care who gets in the way or whatever. Uh, action will be taken one way or the other. So you either do it with thought and care, or it'll be done for you without, I mean, it still probably have thought, but it won't have care. I mean, they really don't care. They don't live in this community. Um, so they don't have those emotional or neighborhood ties, or however you want to put it. So that was that. So that went nowhere. Um, there was some discussion on the historical accumulation of IRS fees and penalties,
Yeah, that
and
one's beautiful too.
yeah, the uh, consensus of opinion between Auditor Miranda McGinnis, who has been the one that has been dealing with the Auditor of State, the IRS, state of Ohio, everything, is that they anticipate potentially additional IRS fines and penalties that are from the fourth quarter of 2022, I believe, was the earliest one, and then moving forward. So with these IRS fines and penalties, so this is the spreadsheet that she compiled. I do believe this was Auditor Miranda McGinnis. Shows the date that it was assessed and the amount, whether or not the city paid it, and whether or not it was abated. So when it's abated, folks, what that means is that the IRS says, we'll give you a break on this. Given the circumstances or what have you, we think that it's justified for us to basically return your money or no longer hold you liable for this. So if the city has paid it and then they get it abated, then it's refunded. If they haven't paid it yet and they get it abated, it's basically dropped. They don't owe it any longer. There was another one that was recent. So the IRS basically said, unless you get us paid by this date, which was really soon, then you're not going to be able to get a discount of 35%. So Auditor Miranda McGinnis went ahead and approved that on her own behalf. So there was some discussion on whether or not that was proper for her to do that. But I think the consensus of opinion was it saved 35% on something that they may have likely gotten nothing from. So that was that discussion. What else do we got on here? There's one more topic, I believe, of interest in the legislation and codes. So if you want to go scroll down,
I didn't see it.
trying to think when that came up. Well, anyway, there was discussion on reestablishing the information systems committee. So
Oh yeah, it's in there. Yep.
it's in there.
I don't know if it's
Yeah,
in the document, but it's
I
definitely in
know that
here.
it
I think
was.
that
Yeah,
it was
I
a
know that it
write-in
was
or something.
discussed. But anyway, the city of Marion, and we've talked about this before, used to have an information systems committee. That might have been the very first committee. Go up and see that. I think it was. Go up to the top of
Might
the
have been.
page. See if it's on here.
Sewers.
It was the first committee that met, I think, wasn't it?
I thought
Oh.
it was it in the
Is there anything up the very top,
transcript.
like the first page?
Yeah, so guys, whoever's watching this, I have a little bit of a lag between what I'm seeing on the 5 screens in front of me and what's actually going on. So sometimes it's a little weird for me. So just so you know, bear with me on that.
Okay. Well, anyway, the city of Marion, one of the committees that they used to have was
I can pull it up
an
on the video, Cody.
information systems committee, and it didn't really do a whole lot by any stretch of the imagination. Even when they did, there's been nothing that we've been able to find in reference to when the city installed its financial software system, the New World financial software system, which at this point is infamous. And you guys have probably heard more about New World than you care to ever know or hear about again.
I know I have. Woo.
Yeah, me too. But that was installed. It was contracted in, I believe, October of 2008, and it was installed in July of 2009. And the city had this information systems committee, but there's really no indication from what we've been able to find. It may exist, it may be out there, but again, nothing that we've been able to find that this information systems committee really had any involvement in deciding to go with Tyler Technology or Tyler Tech or whoever the proprietor
It's
of
Tyler Technologies, yeah.
Tyler Technologies of New World. So what did the information systems committee do? Well, I found some stuff where phone systems for City Hall, stuff like that. It's kind of little picayune, bullshit things. I mean, they're important, I guess, but something like the city's financial software is definitely something that should be under the purview of the Information Systems Committee, and
Right.
I don't think that it really was. So anyway, it exists up until 2000, and what year did they disband?
I don't remember. It's
Like
such a train
21.
wreck. 21 or so. I'd have to look back at the articles. I've got so much data in my head, man. Like, you know that.
Oh, it might have
You
been
do.
23 here. Yeah.
It might have been.
That's when, because I think the ordinance number was that. So this is the ordinance where they disbanded it. And the reason they said that they disbanded it was, we don't need no stinking information systems committee. It doesn't really do shit anyway. So why bother these councilmen and make them, have this as another responsibility? So they got rid of it. And that probably wasn't the wisest decision. Just because a committee is not doing its job and serving its purpose doesn't mean that you should disband it. It might be better to make sure that it does its job and it serves its purpose. And that is what the reestablishment of the Information Systems Committee is seeking to do. It's saying
Right.
we need this, we need to recreate it, reconvene it, and it needs to do its job. And it's going to have one hell of a job moving forward because the Auditor of State has already indicated, as Mayor Bill Collins said in his address to council last week, that the New World financial software does not work. And the implication
Right.
is, which is backed up by scores of evidence that we have compiled, not only from the auditor, the city auditor's statements, also Veritas, several other third-party companies that have come in.
Eyewitnesses.
Yeah, I mean, audit reports, newspaper articles, going back to the installation time, going back to 2009. So, and examples from other municipalities that use New World. There have been lawsuits, as far as we understand, many problems, many deficiencies with the New World system. So you're going to want the Information Systems Committee to have some oversight of what financial software the city of Marion switches to. That's crucial. And there was some commentary last night.
Yeah, I heard that. It was beautiful.
That, well, this is something that really should come down to the Marion City auditor. It should be her decision, and it should be her call for selecting this financial software. And we shouldn't empower some committee of three council members to dictate to her what software she picks. I couldn't. I mean, that was just the dumbest thing I think that I've heard in some time, Jason.
I mean,
These people are elected by the people of Marion to represent them, to make decisions on their behalf. Uh, we have no other issue with any other committee. They're all set up for additional oversight and to try to increase efficiency. Um, this would be the exact same thing. So I mean, can you imagine anybody having a problem with uh, reestablishing this
I
committee?
mean, my big thing with all that was going on is in talking to people in government, specifically, I won't move out to the public, but it's very obvious that the majority of them that I've talked to have no idea of what a enterprise grade system is supposed to operate like, or the terminology used. So I think the IT committee coming back is an excellent idea, not just to help research the software solutions, but to ask critical questions. And if you've got somebody chairing that, for example, like Mr. Smith, Ralph Smith, who did IT in the military, who understands these concepts of permissions and, change controls and ticketing systems, this all needs to be done. These are not options in the IT field. And anybody that's doing what they're supposed to be doing shouldn't have any problem with an oversight committee. And they need to be watching changes to these systems, the implementation of the systems, all permission changes for anybody in any system that has to, especially public safety systems and financial systems and things like that. We've long proven, overproven, beat it with a stick dead 10 times over that there is a serious problem with who's dishing out permissions, not understanding what they do, or just not telling anybody. There's been permission wars. We haven't even released everything that we have. We're trying to work with the Collins administration instead of, dropping nukes in their camp. So we released the screenshots of the New World system after extensive communication with the auditor of state and Mr. Collins and Councilwoman Twyla Lang and others. Some of them pushed back on me pretty hard. One of the things that were mentioned last night was that issue with the Magic Writer software. And I was told several times that didn't happen and it was a conspiracy, and then we've got it on video. So what's really going on here, Cody? So yeah, absolutely. The IT committee, the commission, needs to be put back in place as soon as possible and empowered. The problem with it last time was it wasn't used. Now, whether they had anybody that understood it or not, I don't know, but there's always ways, that you can figure that out. You've got several people on a committee and they know how to read. All the IT policies that you could ever want to learn, you can verify with public documents. I mean, it's global standards. That's why I keep saying it's global IT standards. These are global. You can go to the Philippines working for a telecommunications company and follow the exact same rules that you're going to follow at AT&T or, Verizon or any other telecom company on the planet. They all have change control systems, ticketing systems, tracking systems. IT delves out the permissions, not somebody who's not IT. Why does IT delve out permissions? Because IT understands the permissions and what they do, or they should. So yeah, absolutely. And I don't understand why all the pushback on the IT commission or committee or whatever they're calling it now. It's just really weird to me. And I don't think anybody's trying to put heat on the auditor. I don't have any problem with Miranda at all. I've never really even met her, but like everybody's saying they're trying to attack her. No, that's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to fix a problem here. And like I keep saying, I've had no problems with Bill or Twyla or anybody who actually wants to get to the bottom of this and, fix it, expose the problems. The people deserve to know, and we will expose them when we find them. But first, we'll communicate with the officials and be like, this is what we're checking out before we do that to them and see if they have anything to say about it. But we will report on it. So yeah, I definitely think this needs to happen as soon as possible.
Yeah, and again, that criticism was kind of, well, you aren't IT experts, so you are in no better position to make a decision on this. Well, again, if you're elected to council by the voters, you're entrusted with additional powers, duties, in order to legislate on behalf of the citizenry. And the committee is not able to vote to approve or to make law. They're not able to legislate on their
Right.
own. You can't bring a piece of legislation, an ordinance or resolution into the information systems committee or any other committee for that matter. And those three members are not able to vote on it and say, this is now law. And they
Right.
cannot circumvent the full council. What the committees are supposed to do is basically look over everything. They're supposed to be kind of focused. They may not be experts in finance. They may not be experts in streets and sewers or anything like that, or parks or what have you, or information systems and IT. They may not be experts, but when they are selected or they volunteer to serve on that committee, they're supposed to be learning as much as they can. They're supposed to be laser focused on that particular area of legislation and governance. And the committees offer a venue for in-depth consideration. All these little
Right.
details, they're supposed to kind of be the first line of defense and the ones that put the harder work in, ask the tough questions, make additional, if they need to bring in experts, they can bring in experts, come in, talk to us. They go through their different readings, and then they may make a recommendation to city council to say, we've reviewed this piece of legislation and we agree with it. And we are recommending, we took a vote amongst the three of us, and all three of us recommend that you guys approve it. Or they could say, all three of us recommend that you vote it down. We're going to send it to you, but we recommend that you vote no because we've thought about it. We've considered it. Or they can send it off and say, we don't have a recommendation. So council, you consider it. We want to get it in front of you, but we don't have a recommendation for you after we've reviewed it. And it doesn't have to be unanimous. It doesn't have to be 3-0 vote. It can be 2-1, you know. So that's kind of what committees do. They're
Right.
not experts in a particular field, but they should be focused on learning as much as they can about relevant law,
Right.
legislation relating to that topic. And when you're dealing with that, this kind of decision, you want additional oversight. New
Right.
World was kind of just selected as far as the records that we have been able to uncover. It was selected by Kelly Carr, the former auditor, and she was brand new. I mean, she got sworn into office January 1st, 2008, and they contracted with New World in October of 2008, and it was installed by July of 2009. So do you want one person making the decision that's going to impact the entire city? Do you want one person to have that authority? Or do you want more people to think about, ask questions, you know? Personally,
Right, and it should be a collaboration between the financial people and the technology people and the committee, all working together. These people got to start talking to each other. Like, I keep hearing this in council meetings, and it's driving me crazier. This person doesn't want to talk to this person. The magic box that I keep on alluding to, apparently the things that I have now gotten regarding this magic box that I keep on alluding towards was completely due to people not wanting to communicate with each other, and it caused some problems. And these are also financial problems, and we're still digging on it, so I won't go too far into it. But it seems like this is a ongoing issue where I don't know if it's a political barrier that they need to get over. Quite frankly, this is just ridiculous. Or if it's some kind of I don't know what it is, Cody. Like, it happened throughout the Scherzer administration, and we're seeing it now where people aren't talking to each other or communicating with each other. And when you're putting in a system like this, these are complicated, very, very complicated systems, and they're hard to change over. And there's a lot of stuff that can go weird, including people, having inappropriate permissions, that aren't addressed or monitored. And nobody's talking to anybody. Here you go. They chose a software that was subpar.
They messed it up with New World. They can't do that again. They've got to do it right this time and make sure that they select the right program, the right software.
Right.
Everybody's on board. They have the correct modules. They have the correct protocols, policies, procedures, the whole works. And that's the other thing with the information systems. Like, it'll help with the cybersecurity, with the internal permissions, policies, protocols, all that stuff. They need to do it. We've talked about it ad nauseum till we're blue in the face, and our fingers are withered from typing, all these articles and stuff about it. But that's what needs to be done. That hasn't been done historically. And
I have to wonder, like, I'm going to play this for these guys real quick, just because it's definitely relevant. I think this is it.
Okay. Now, looking at 2020, though, and to be honest with you, I don't remember what the tax issue was.
Issue.
What was the 2020 tax issue
I'll talk about it
got
afterwards?
Because if I remember right, 2020 was technically the year we had 3 auditors, correct?
21 was.
21. Okay.
So the tax issue was, I believe it started in June. keep in mind, I'm playing telephone because I was not here until the end of 21, so I'm giving you the details that I have based on conversations that I've had. So from what I've been made aware of is there was an issue as far as how the tax payments were made. When the tax payments were attempted to be made the first time, somehow the account information had gotten deleted. The software company that the payment was being made through, quote unquote, recreated the batch but put in the wrong account information. And
Okay, so that's super fun for us. You guys bear with us here, because when we were researching this, you should have heard or read some of the stuff that we were being told. Some pretty harsh words of denial about how things played out, and that's pretty much how they played out. Kim Hutchinson was in the office at the time under Mr. Landon, and I don't know how I don't know the system very well. Magic Writer, which is kind of a payment system. And she deleted a module per se and couldn't figure out how to get it back. So she called the vendor and they walked her through how to re-add it, and they added in the wrong account. So this plays into several things. I've gone into it extensively. One of them is exact link specifications, and a lot of these account numbers and stuff are different, and it shouldn't accept it. First of all, I don't know. I'd have to see the system in person or research that particular system a little bit more. However, I kind of wonder if perhaps there was an actual committee that was empowered at that time. Somebody might not have caught that before 7 months went by, 6 months went by. And these are the kinds of questions that, as an IT person with more than 20 years of experience, I have to continually ask myself every time I hear some craziness like this. It's just crazy to me. But you've heard from Bobby. I reach out to all kinds of people. You guys have seen the screenshots, IT people, telecom people, management people. I do reach out to people that have hazmat backgrounds. We just did that with the water thing. And these people that I'm reaching out to in the IT field, and Cody will tell you, and Landon will tell you, Dennis will tell you, the whole team, they're just like, what in the hell is going on up there? Like, who's driving the ship? And I don't really have any answers for them, because the deeper we dig, the bigger the explosion gets. And that's why we went so hard on this New World thing. And it's just a big mess. And finally, the auditor of state stepped up, and I think they might have taken a look in the system. I'm not sure, but it's awful interesting to me that we send all this information to them, Bill, others, and then all of a sudden they're in there ordering permission changes and declaring that New World just doesn't work. So, I mean, it's
And
just
they
a
were
highly
aware.
confusing situation.
They were aware for years, and that's one thing that Bill said with the one gal for the auditor of state, that she's been around since the installation. She's been dealing with the city of Marion from the auditor of state level, to doing audits and dealing with them. And he said that she said she's aware of the long-standing issues with the New World system used by Marion specifically, and then also just its reputation in the industry.
Right.
So
it has a reputation, that's for sure.
Backed up by all the evidence that we've put forth.
My thing is as soon as they admitted on record, I think the first instance we have of that, is 22 or somewhere around there, Cody, the council minutes where they're talking about the software problems and all the crazy.
It
technically
goes before that. It goes
right. But I mean, where they actually admit that of the systematic issues, you know what I mean? And the reconciliation problems and all the other crazy, and the ghost accounts and the mess. Why didn't somebody step in at that time? Now, Marion, I mean, the IT audit that I keep on yammering about, this is not a choice according to industry standards. We have triple check boxes in every single one or more of every single point the industry standards say that an IT forensic audit needs to be done. And the point of a forensic audit is to track the problem to its root cause. So that means that it needs to go all the way back, if they can, all the way back to the installation of the software, because there needs to be accountability. These audits are not cheap unless they're a criminal investigation. And, you know, something like the FBI takes over or something like that. I think that that's a little bit different. But as far as the city taking this on, you're talking about a huge time span of auditing. And I've never even tried to wrap my head around an audit that size. I'm a sysadmin. I understand permissions really well, all the ins and outs of data centers, things of that nature. I've done some smaller audits, but as far as an audit that goes over like 2 decades, no. That's going to take
whether
a
or not
highly specialized
if
firm.
that scope and scale is going to happen, who knows? Will they be able to maybe potentially do something that goes back 5, 6 years, 7 years, something, you know, maybe if they, you know, just limited it. But the fact that they're going to be they're looking into alternative systems. So getting out of New World and going with another provider, another software, that's huge. That is huge
Right.
in trying to get out of this hole, get out of this problem, and move forward into the future, which hopefully is happy and prosperous. Now, I will point out, just kind of shift the last topic from council and on this IT stuff, is the question of the conversion to ADP. So that's your payroll software. So the city of
We
Marion
were just talking about that last week, Cody.
a good amount of
Garbage in,
time
garbage out.
trying to convert. So they contracted with ADP to have this payroll software, which ADP is probably, I mean, it is, I don't even have to say probably, ADP is the #1 payroll software used in the United States. And you would think that that would be something that, I mean, the city of Marion isn't exactly huge from a number of employee standpoint. I think there's 300 and some, probably pushing 400. I could be off a little bit on that, but it's pretty damn close. So not a huge company. I mean,
Right.
a good sized company, but not a huge company. And the amount of time and the delay and the issues that they have experienced. For example, we're hearing that payments just didn't go out, payment amounts were incorrect. And then on Monday, during the committee meeting, Councilman Aaron Rollins inquired as to, I think, some benefits, that there are errors within the benefits that were in ADP. And Auditor Miranda McGinnis gave the explanation that they were aware of the issue, that they were importing data from ADP into New World, and that the data was all messed up.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
listen to it real quick. It's only a couple minutes.
Yeah, go ahead and play that.
Current status of benefits, health insurance, and so on and so forth. Can anyone speak to that?
Yes, that is also an ADP issue. There's a report that we have to export from ADP to pull into New World. That report has been completely wrong, and I have to go through and manually correct 77 some odd hundred lines. So I am working on that to get that uploaded. We do believe we found a temporary fix in the meantime, so that will be getting adjusted tomorrow. And then Laura should have her checks in the morning.
Yeah, I'm not an IT person. It's not my wheelhouse. If it were up to me, I would go back and I would kill the person that invented the computer and the internet. But that's where we live, so I gotta deal with it. Now, if I know, and we already know that New World, Veritas, and all these third-party financial geniuses and IT, people come in there and they say, we run the same report back to back, should be giving us the exact same data, right? Well,
Right.
it's not. It was giving
Right.
completely different data, and they said that it would be off a lot. We're not talking a penny. We're not talking a rounding error. We're talking substantial differences.
Yeah, 6 figures. Yeah.
Yeah. So if that is, we already know that. If I'm talking about importing data from ADP, now it's possible, you would know better than me. It's possible, I would think that, okay, it's a conversion, it's a new system. ADP could be having problems. That's true. It's possible that it's all ADP. But
I
if I
think the
already
jury's out
know
on that. Yeah.
that New World is effed, if it's effed on the output, what's the likelihood that it's effed on the input? Right?
Right. No, I mean, your line of thinking is exactly correct. That's what we were talking about with Bobby and Ralph on the last On the Money broadcast, was something we nerds call garbage in, garbage out. If the system's flawed and you're pulling or pushing information to or from that system, the information that it's going to generate is probably going to be flawed at some extent. Now, these workarounds that they're talking about, I don't know what these workarounds are. I'm hoping that they get them under control and they don't have to keep using workarounds, at least till they get the new system up and running. But these workarounds have been going on in the New World system since it was installed. And we believe that that might be what was going on and not passed on to, the incoming Land administration and the Collins administration, quite honestly. I've talked to multiple people in that administration, and they've said that, they knew there were problems, but they didn't know that there were disabled security features and disabled switches and, things in the back end, and the reconciliation module wasn't even activated or installed or downloaded, depending on who you talk to and their terminology. This is highly concerning information. It is never acceptable to have a system of duct tape workarounds in a multi-million-dollar system running finances for, a municipality with tens of millions of dollars of taxpayer funds on the line. Ever. Never. And I don't know how it went on this long. But man, I sure would like to know. And that's, kind of what we're trying to get to, is who decided that this was okay, and why, quite frankly.
Yeah. That's the $1 million question. Quite literally the $1 million question, because that's about what New World cost.
I gave up on trying to rack up the fees and the fines and the fees and the costs of the crazy from the inception of the software to present day. I don't know. It's somewhere in the double-digit millions. I know we have some figures out there. Those are our best guesses in some of the articles, cumulative. But I don't know, Cody. You're the finance guy, but that's a lot of research, buddy.
Yeah, and like I said, at least there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
We know that we're going to be moving on from this shit software, and
they admitted it. That was the first problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we had a lot of people looking at black and white documents and evidence, screenshots, council minutes, audits dating back to, we went back to 80 because people were calling us biased because we didn't do, we were lopsided in our research. So we were like, okay, well, we can predict that there were probably permission issues and financial issues way before 2000, which is where we stopped because those were the digital files available. And there were, the IT control issues go back into the 80s, password sharing, access to the terminal command prompt, access to the operating system, the shell, as they call them in the audits. That's not good. And it's just a culture of disregard for these types of policies. And this is what you have when you have this type of thing going on. And we know passwords are being shared. We know that there are permission issues. We've proven that. And it's just a big mess, man. It's a snowball of crazy.
Yeah. So The last topic of the evening is something that you quite literally can smell and taste, and it's the contaminated or likely contaminated water in the city of Marion. Jay, you have kind of done quite a bit of investigation on this. The only thing that I can say before you go off on what you have found is I've heard Marion's left wing podcaster. He was on today and he was saying,
Snap.
"Oh well, you know, the city of Marion and Aqua, Ohio says that there's nothing to see here. I don't know what it is with all these conspiracy theorists out on the internet posting things about this, speculating what it could actually be, blah, 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 blah. The usual propaganda coming out of that particular outlet. And I would just remind everybody to look up the Flint
Right.
water crisis.
It should be in the article, the main article.
Yeah, which started in 2014,
Right.
and it was when the city of Flint, which had a antiquated plumbing system, essentially, made some changes, and there was contaminants from lead and other heavy metals and things like that that contaminated the water supply and caused a whole lot of health issues for the citizens of Flint, which is a city that is not unlike the city of Marion,
Right.
socioeconomically, historically. It's a former manufacturing giant, just like the city of Marion. Its heyday was around the turn of the century, like the city of Marion. And its infrastructure, like its sewer system, its water systems, all that, is all dated back to around the turn of the century
Right.
in a lot of sections, or at least the first couple decades of the prior century. So, kind of very similar story. And just because you have this company that says, oh, everything is fine, nothing to see here, that's what they said in Flint.
Right.
Okay. So that was the narrative that was coming out, is that the water is potable, it's safe to drink, there's no issues. If it smells weird, tastes weird, feels weird, rest assured that it's safe. And what we're hearing is the same thing. So we have precedent. This isn't tinfoil hat territory.
Right.
This isn't conspiracy theorists, whack jobs, just spouting off at the mouth. This is saying we have precedent. This stuff does
Yeah.
happen.
I'm going to stop you
And-
for a minute. We don't do that at Marion Watt. So if you're hearing that, you need to tell them that that's just not how we operate. If you notice, I didn't release anything on this really until it was several days in. And the reason why was because I was reaching out to people that I know that work in hazmat and do things like this and getting feedback and doing research on it. So yeah, Marion Watch doesn't operate like that. We're not tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists. We might throw some stuff out there, some theories, but they're founded in knowledge and actual, precedent, like Cody was saying. So there's that.
Yeah, and you hear the phrase, it doesn't pass the smell test. Okay. So if you get a package of meat, let's say, and you take off the cellophane, you smell it, and you say, that doesn't smell good. We were blessed through God, evolution, whatever you want to say, to have olfactory senses for that very purpose. So, as a defense in a lot of cases, so if we smell something that is offensive to us, then we are meant to avoid it. We're certainly not meant to consume it. But
Right.
we have eyes for the same reason. You know, our brains are conditioned. So if you look at some water, which you say, okay, potable water, drinkable water is supposed to be at least fairly pure. And if our eyes look at it and say, oh, that's clear, that's transparent, I can consume it. There's a, better chance. Now, if I see little microorganisms in there floating around, twisting around, I'd say, maybe I shouldn't drink that. If I see that it is not the right color, if it's not transparent, if it's got a tinge to it, color to it, that doesn't look normal. These are all things, the smell, the skin, people are saying that it burns, likely any number of things that could be going on there. These are all testimonies. I mean, there's hundreds of comments coming out of Marion of people saying that their houses smell like a pool or just funky. You gonna ignore that? That's not conspiracy. What really frustrates me with these people, like that certain left-wing podcaster, is that if the federal government, so in that individual's mind, the only thing that makes something truthful is if a government official or the mainstream media, so if it comes over the wire from the AP or what have you, that is fact. So he is committing the logical fallacy that's called appeal to authority, to say that everything that comes from somebody of authority is truth, is factual. That's complete bullshit and just stupidity at its finest. The free mind, and that's what we're encouraging people. We're not saying that it's toxic to consume. We don't know that. We know we have precedent in Flint, Michigan, that happened. A lot of people were damaged and there were lawsuits and everything else, health issues, and that reverberated for many years. And people are probably still suffering from the lingering impacts caused by that. We know what the official narrative was in Flint at the time when it first started breaking. All we're saying is that caution needs to be taken by officials. That'd be local government officials, Aqua, Ohio, and the citizens of Marion. And you got to use your mind, free your mind, and say, I'm going to look into this stuff myself. If I think my water smells funny, tastes funny, burns, or has some other reaction to your skin, something's probably not right. And you should exercise caution until the situation is rectified.
Right.
I think that's pretty much common sense. Don't just listen to what some supposed authority figure is telling you. And the other side of that, Jason, is if you're Aqua, Ohio, are you going to want to admit that there's a problem? I mean, especially if it's something,
unless you have to.
Yeah, if your hand is forced, or it's something that can be like, if it could be easily resolved. I mean, we've all had issues where there's a boil watch and stuff like that. I mean, we've experienced those. They're temporary, short-term duration. Got to boil your water, whatever. We're flushing the lines or whatever they're doing. That happened. This seems to be different. Maybe it's not, but it just seems to be different, right? I mean, is that the opinion that you're getting?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely weird. I know that there's hundreds of comments, and I got hammered with messages today of people who are testing with home test kits, and most of them are pretty accurate. Some of the ones that they're using are for fish tanks, and that can kind of skew numbers a little bit for whatever reason. But I know that we reached out to the city, and they basically said that they don't have any records regarding this. I asked for emails and, whatever communications, and went into some of the chemical specifications and things I was looking for. And then I had to reply back and ask them to reconsider the records request because we had asked for communications. However, the good news is that we got a reply back from Aqua within several hours, and they have promised us that they'll get back with their regulatory compliance people and get back with us hopefully tomorrow. So we should have something on that. And I won't go any further on that subject until I know a little bit more. But no, you're right. Like the Flint thing and several of the other ones that we researched, I believe it was one of the ones in Illinois, was more similar to Marion's, and that it was almost exactly the same scenario. And, these agencies or whatever in Flint and whatnot, other places are saying, oh, no, there's nothing to see here until they have to. So,
Yeah.
and it's just like, I know this is an extreme example, but you have like nuclear spills or contamination in nuclear areas, Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, things like that. Oh, there's nothing to see here until there is.
Right.
Until they have to admit it.
They have a vested interest in trying to control the narrative and public relations. So they're not going to come out there, and if it was a serious issue, if it's a small little trivial temporary thing, that's different. And we've all experienced that. There's plenty of precedent for that.
Right.
But this just seems to be, it doesn't pass the smell test. At this point, and hopefully there is nothing to see here. Hopefully it is resolved quickly.
Right.
Hopefully it doesn't pose a long-term threat, or even a short-term threat. But when you read those comments, you can't ignore them. And
Right.
that's the other thing that people who commit the logical fallacy of appealing to authority commit all the time, is they'll say, you'll have people commenting on Marion Watch or the Marion Crime Chronicles or any number of these large-scale community Facebook groups or social media outlets, and you've got comment after comment after comment after comment after comment saying, this is what I'm experiencing. And unless and until NBC, ABC, CBS, the AP, somebody like that goes in there, or some federal official, and says, yes, this is what is going on, then that person is going to say, nope, nothing to see here. And they'll just completely ignore all that eyewitness testimony because they're not officials.
Right.
So that's the dumbest, most biased, highest level of propaganda that is out there.
It's a public risk. Right.
Yeah. We here at Marion Watch and the Watchmen's Report, we have faith in you. We know that when it comes down to it, all politics is local, all issues are local, and there's nothing more local than you, the citizen, and what you personally experience, what you witness with your own eyes and smell with your nose and feel with your skin. So we'll continue to monitor this issue, and if you have additional information, whether it be independent testing that you've done, if you yourself have reached out to Aqua or any public officials and they've made statements to you, drop us a line. Let us know.
Definitely.
You know, if there's anything that is breaking that needs to be shared, then we're here to assist in that, to raise public awareness, and that's our goal. So,
Right.
Jay, do you have any final comments here as we close for the night?
I don't think so. That's just, I mean, it's in the name, the Watchmen. That's what we've always been about, warning people of the crazy and the danger. And it started in the opiate crisis and all that stuff, and spiraled into politics, and now we're in media. So now we can be the voice for people. And it's actually cool. I love this. It's a great honor to be media in the United States of America. We take it very seriously.
Yeah, it's all independent. That's the other thing. When you're dealing with report media, when you're dealing with media that has sponsors, I mean, when you look at the network of what we consider mainstream media in this country, there's about 6 companies that own like 90 or 95% of all media. So that's newspapers, that's television stations, radio stations. So you're getting corporate, okay?
Right.
Not only does this mega corporation own all these different media outlets, but they're going to dictate across the board what can be published, what can be said. That's not good. That's centralization of
Right.
news, of the narrative. When you have independent media or just activists or commentators, we don't have sponsors. We're not selling ad space. We're not beholden to anybody. We're beholden to our own convictions and our desire for truth and transparency, and our desire to build awareness in our community. That is our only motivation. So I think this independent commentary, media, whatever you want to say, I mean, people say, oh, you're not journalists, or well, I don't want to claim to be a traditional journalist. We see where
We're
that gets you.
activists.
Yeah, it
That
gets
are
you
journalists.
that gets you the AP. But I can assure you that we do more research. I mean, I personally spend hours every day.
Yep.
Jay does, trying to go through everything and trying to make sense, connect the dots, broaden the picture. That way we can bring that to you. And
Yeah. And by the way, it's not free. We do have a substantial cost in technology and stuff like that, but I don't think we're going to do ads. We ran into some problems with that last time when we were in media. We were publishing and then people would pull their sponsorship. So we're going to do some other funding, creative funding, and probably try to source some from donations and things of that nature down the road. But I don't think we're going to do too many ads unless they're hardcore patriots that actually want to know the truth. And aren't going to try to hold us on a leash. And to give the viewers an idea, Cody he's really good. So if he has something he wants to report on, I have 2 rules: professional and do you have receipts? I don't hover over him. I don't ask to look at his material 50 times before he publishes and dictate it. And Cody's a professional. He knows how to publish. He's not going to do anything crazy, and he always has receipts. And the same goes with the other people that are on the team that are publishing. Mr. Landon publishes every now and then, and I publish. And Cody doesn't hover over me, in my crazy world of IT and whatever else I'm on with this chemical stuff, because I've got the receipts. And that's what you'll get here is we've got the receipts. We've got the research, and we have the expertise on the team to actually report. We're not going to be on, a podcast talking about, I don't even want to talk about what's been talked about on that recently, but yeah, so there's that.
yeah, and in the end, you have to decide.
Right.
You have to decide what you view as credible. You have to decide what you decide. and what you want to do. So, you know, I encourage you to open your mind, to be objective in your analysis, and to do your homework. And that's all that anybody can do when it comes down to it. So,
Yeah, and if we mess something up, hit us up, man. Call us out. Be like, yo, you guys, this is wrong, because we'll definitely look at it.
yeah, I mean, we're human. We make mistakes just like anybody else, but we'll continue to make every effort to do the best and to serve you, the viewers, you, the members of social media, and people that go out on Marion Watch's website. And that's all that we can do. So I thank you for joining us tonight here on the Watchman's Report. I'm not sure when we're going to be. Are we broadcasting tomorrow?
We probably could maybe do some national talk. We haven't done that yet. I'm kind of excited about that one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I know that Twyla's father just passed. I've been researching council minutes. Well, you have too. The whole team has, all the way back to the 60s now. I think I'm back to 61. And man, that guy, I wouldn't have wanted to mess around in politics with some of those people back in that era, in the 70s and stuff. They were kind of a little more dangerous than they are now. Let's just put it that way. And he was just ruthless with these people. So, I mean, so sorry for Twyla's loss. He was definitely a hardcore advocate and patriot for the people of Marion. And the comments that we see on the posts regarding him is awesome. Just mind-blowing support for Twyla and her family. And hopefully, if she has some time, we'll get her on, but we're trying to give her some space. I know she's got some stuff to talk about. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there's plenty to talk about. And I really would have liked to have had the opportunity to interview Tom Endo.
Me too. Right.
Like that, having all that activity in city politics in the 1970s in particular, and that's when he was in office in city council, it would have been a fascinating discussion. So we send our condolences out to Twyla Lang and her family, and in memory of former Marion City Councilman Thomas Endo. So so stay tuned. We will post the notice when our next broadcast is, and it'll definitely be something that you don't want to miss. So until next time, for Jason Foreman, I'm Cody Higley, and this has been the Watchman's Report. And remember, folks, a watchman is always vigilant. Have a good night.